Today we are driving the 2021 Cadillac Escalade Sport, but as always, let me give you a brief tour of the car before we get it out on the road. This Escalade has a typical GM key fob. You can remote start the vehicle from the key itself, but it doesn't feel as high quality as it should for a Cadillac. Up front, you will get these very nice fully LED headlights with the waterfall design. They also do some pretty sweet animations when you unlock it. You get a large grille finished in gloss black with a Cadillac crest and a more aggressive area at the bottom of the Sport model. However, none of the vents are functional. Moving around to the sides, you will find standard 22-inch alloy wheels. You can also get gloss black ones if you choose the Onyx package. The wheel surrounds are going to be painted, and taking a look at the mirrors, they have heating, blind spot monitoring, auto dimming, and power folding. There are power running boards at the bottom, and I also want to mention that the door handles aren't actually door handles, they are electronic. With the touring package, they also come with soft close. Taking a step back to look at the profile, you can see this is a pretty large car overall. It measures in at 212 inches and the ESV model is 227. The back wheels are the exact same as the fronts, and you get a Cadillac crest right here. All the trim is going to be finished in gloss black. The Escalade's clean and classy design continues on at the back. You get some gloss black trim as well as a large Cadillac crest, and you get more gloss black at the bottom with dual exhaust. Normally, if you don't get the Onyx package, the Escalade branding will be finished in chrome, but the previous owner of this car had it finished in gloss black. Push on the Cadillac logo to open the trunk and you will find 25.5 cubic feet of space behind the third row. There's also a good amount of storage underneath the floor and the spare tire is located underneath the car. There's also a power folding third row. All the switches are going to be right there along with the power outlets. And when you fold down the third row, you will find 72.9 cubic feet of space. There are power release controls for the second row seats, but you will have to fold them back up manually. As maximum, you get 121 cubic feet of space. You can also easily fold up the third row seats, and they do so pretty quickly. To close the trunk, just push the center button. We're not done with the cargo area yet though, because the Escalade has a pretty cool feature that is actually very convenient. When you click a button on the key fob, you can actually pop open the rear glass. That is very convenient because that gives you quick access into the trunk. That is also super convenient because this car's liftgate is not very quick to open and close. Let's go ahead and check out the rear seats because that is where your family is going to be sitting in this Escalade. The power running boards fold down when you open the door, and taking a look at the door panel, you will find plenty of storage space at the bottom, a leather-covered armrest, and surprisingly no sunshades. There's Escalade branding on the tread plates, and the seats are made of quilted leather and they are pretty comfortable overall. They have heating and manual adjustments. Pull this lever twice to get into the third row. Access is pretty simple, but keep in mind that you cannot keep a car seat installed if you use this method. The seat is slid almost all the way forward, but it is still very comfortable for the second row passengers. There's plenty of legroom and headroom, and for amenities you get a USB-C port, a cubby, and a cup holder. This is not very much different from the Tahoe or Yukon in terms of space and amenities. To exit the third row, push the button twice. That will give you a nice easy access way out of the third row. Let's go ahead and check out the second row next because that is where you really want to sit. The power running boards and the handle make it very easy to get inside, and with the seats slid all the way forward, I still have a good amount of legroom and the headroom is amazing. If I want more legroom, I can slide the seat all the way back. That still gives the third row passengers plenty of room. There are seat back pockets and the back of the seat is going to be finished in a soft touch material. In the middle, you will find everything covered in leather, and you have two cup holders right here and all your climate controls. You also get a power outlet and two USB-C ports. I also want to mention that you can get an entertainment system in the back giving you access to YouTube and Hulu. Let's go ahead and check out the front next. As you can see, there are soft closed doors even on the back. And taking a look at the front door panel, you will see that you have some leather covering the armrest, a good amount of storage space at the bottom, and all of your heated seat controls. There are also two-person memory seats. The seats are going to be made of quilted leather and they have speakers in the headrest, heating, ventilation, and 12 ways of power adjustments. The Platinum models have massage and 16 ways of adjustments. Let's go ahead and start this Escalade up. The steering wheel is leather wrapped, power adjustable, and heated. The heated steering wheel button is going to be right there. You also get paddle shifters and wood accents. On the Platinum model, you will get a leather covered airbag cover. The gauge cluster has tons of customization. You can turn it into a full screen map, an augmented reality camera system, which is very cool when you're using the built-in navigation, and there's also night vision to help you see better in the dark. The resolution is also amazing because this gauge cluster is actually part of a 38-inch OLED display. The gauge cluster is actually stacked on top of the main display, which is actually kind of cool. For the main infotainment system, you get built-in navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. Of course, the resolution is amazing because it is OLED, and it is a touchscreen. If you don't want to touch the screen, you can use this low-quality scroll wheel. All the buttons around it are actually very low quality. The shifter is pretty easy to use, but it does creak. Push down to go into drive, push up for reverse, and that will bring up some of the highest resolution cameras I've ever seen. You can switch between multiple different angles like a wide view or a side view. You can go to the front view. There is also a 3D view, which is actually very low resolution. Normally they're very helpful, but this one just seems like Cadillac put no effort in. To put it into park, just push the button. As far as climate controls are concerned, there are going to be fully physical buttons and toggles. You can use these toggles right here, which feel very high quality to adjust the temperature and turn it on or off. For storage, you will find some cup holders and a cubby under this wood trim, as well as 2 USB ports. There is a cubby on each side of the center console, which is very nice, and there's a vertical wireless phone charging pad. Just keep in mind if you drop something in there, it's going to be hard to get it out. The center console is pretty big, and you can get a cool box on the top trims. Up top, you will find a digital rearview mirror, your home controls, and a large panoramic sunroof. There are also these buttons right here where you can fold up and down the third row seats. That is very convenient because you don't have to go all the way around to the trunk to do it. But let's go ahead and get this Escalade out on the road and wrap up this brief tour. We are driving the 2021 Cadillac Escalade Sport. Let me fill you in on the specs. I probably don't even have to tell you what is under the hood of this car because the engine has been around for so long, but I will anyway for the purpose of this video. Under the hood is a 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8 putting out 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. That is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and this car gets 14 mpg in the city, 19 on the highway, and 16 combined. That is pretty average for a full-size SUV. Driving around town, the ride quality is excellent. This magnetic ride control soaks up all of the bumps very nicely, and this car also has an air suspension with the touring package. That definitely helps. For a body-on-frame vehicle like this Escalade, this is so impressive. I don't know any other body-on-frame vehicle that can ride like this. The Lexus LX may come close, but everything else really has some catching up to do. This engine is also plenty powerful, and we will be doing an acceleration test a little bit later in this video. I also want to mention that you can get a diesel powertrain on the 2021 to 2024 Escalades. That is a lot less power than this V8, but it does get pretty good fuel economy. It is in the mid-20s. It is also good if you plan on towing or hauling a lot with the Escalade. Now I understand why Cadillac got rid of it for 2025. Having a diesel powertrain in a luxury car like this vehicle isn't really something that I think goes well together. Diesels are more for big trucks that need to haul a lot, and it makes more sense to have it only in the Tahoe and Yukon. As far as wind noise goes, there is a discernible amount of wind noise entering the cabin. There really isn't a whole lot Cadillac can do because this car is pretty boxy overall. However, I will say that while it is noticeable, it is not disruptive. Now if you want to block out that noise, you can use the standard 19-speaker AKG sound system. It is pretty impressive for the base model. What is more impressive is the 36-speaker sound system that's on the Platinum models. That is one of the best sound systems I've ever heard on a vehicle. One thing that is probably important to people buying this size of vehicle is how maneuverable it is. This car measures in at 212 inches long, which is not small by any stretch of the imagination. Let me go ahead and give you a little bit of a maneuverability demonstration right here. So the turning radius is pretty good. It doesn't have rear wheel steering, but you can maneuver it pretty well at low speeds. It doesn't feel as big as it actually is, but it isn't going to feel small because this car is a body-on-frame vehicle. They normally don't really maneuver like small cars. But let's pause there and do an acceleration test. Now Now back to the turning radius and maneuverability discussion. So I reviewed the Jeep Grand Wagoneer about 2 years ago, and that is 3 inches longer than this car, and I will say that the turning radius felt a little bit cleaner on that. It also felt like it was more maneuverable and felt like a smaller vehicle. It's not to say that the Escalade is bad, but I feel like they have room for improvements. If you want a crossover-based full-size SUV, go Mercedes GLS or BMW X7. Those will feel a lot more maneuverable than this Cadillac Escalade. You get a 10-speed automatic transmission, and I will say, overall it is pretty smooth. I barely feel the shifts, and it's not the quickest thing in the world to downshift. There is a little bit of lag, and it doesn't always know the right gear to go in, but I will say it gets the job done. If you want more of a performance-tuned transmission, go Escalade V. Of course, that's going to be a lot more expensive than this 2021 Escalade Sport, but that will give you a more performance-tuned transmission. The Escalade's interior is also very luxurious. This isn't the Top Sport Platinum trim, which has everything smothered in semi-aniline leather and just beautiful materials, but it is still very nice and appropriate for the price. There's plenty of space in all 3 rows as well as the cargo area, and everything just is very easy to use and high-tech. But we are about to wrap up our test drive in this 2021 Cadillac Escalade Sport. This is still my favorite family car out there. It is so luxurious, so spacious, and just looks amazing. It isn't the latest 2025 model, but I will say it is a great choice in the used markets. You can find a used Sport Platinum trim for something like $60,000. If you want some of the latest technology, a ton of space on the interior, and you want to stand out in the school pickup line, but you don't have $93,000 to spend on a base model 2025 Escalade, this used Escalade is a great choice. You can never go wrong with an Escalade. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.